see as like part of like the skins that you can have for each of the characters.
Spearman afraid?
I feel that.
And pretty much
Round
what
five.
is technically just with Superman, the face of all of this. But I think like his premiere skins would most likely comprise of either Talon, who's a famous Batman villain, well, the assassin for Court of Owls, or, hear me out, Owlman. And pretty much what I was thinking was that like Talon or Owlman would have like the same moveset, but also have like different, like they would use more like, instead of battle ranks, have more of a like Talon would use his could use shurikens or something, and Owlman could use his owl things. But yeah, I think that's for Batman. For Superman, I'd like to say I want to have Bizarro for his premiere skin, because Bizarro's technically Superman, but backwards. And pretty much with everything that's been happening at the moment, I think like another one from which, because I recently watched Man of Steel, I think General Zod could be like a really good one. But pretty, because both of them, because Bizarro has like the same powers as him, but you'd think, alright, it's like all like backwards, so that he's got, instead of like frost breath, he's got fire breath. Instead of heat vision, he's got ice vision. And I think it would actually be like a really use more strategy and combos. My next one is Wonder Woman, and I've only got one character for her. And that would be Cersei, who is pretty much, I originally thought that she was Wonder Woman's half sister. She might be, but then I remembered that she's from the Odyssey, with Odysseus in it. And pretty much she would be a good premiere skin for Wonder Woman, because pretty much she's an Amazon, she would kind of be like have the same fighting style as Wonder Woman, but like where she uses like where she would use like a sword, like she could use her magic, because she uses magic to help enhance her fighting abilities, such as like use like a damage boost on her weaponry, and I think it would actually be quite cool. Next is Supergirl, and I don't really need to say anything about her, because I think her premiere skin already, which is going to be Power Girl, is going to be fairly alright. Like, not the biggest fan of Power Girl, but I know that like I think she would be like she would be more of a interesting, like a more interesting character that we could all use. Next, Aquaman. Now, the next, like the two characters I think could be the premiere skins could possibly be either Ocean Master, because technically they're both the same, and Black Manta, which is one of the characters that most people want to see. And I think that would actually be like a really good thing. And I basically think, oh yeah, like Black Manta could use like his his lasers from his helmet to attack his opponents from a distance, and he also uses like a spear, like Aquaman, which is kind of like the same for Ocean Master, because he's like one of those characters that you think, oh, alright, he's an Atlantean as well, so he would technically have the same abilities, which is pretty true, because since Ocean Master is Aquaman's brother, it would actually be quite an interesting conversation between them, because you haven't, I don't think you've seen much of Ocean Master inside of Injustice or the comics, but you do get a reference to him in the first game from Aquaman's doppelganger from the other Earth. But I think it would be fairly alright, those two. Blue Beetle. Technically, I had a little bit of a hard decision trying to think about who could be Blue Beetle's premiere skin, but pretty much I thought, you know what? You could pretty much just do Black Beetle, because he's technically the same, and there's not really anyone else you could probably use for it. And pretty much, I think, yeah, that's it. Robin, I got two characters. Both of them are like Robin and use sword. My first one is Ra's al Ghul, because he would be like a really good addition, and since he's a master combatant, it would be like a really good thing. And like, since like he could have like special abilities where like he could like flip everything around and use like the head of the demon ability.
I was a revenant too, you know.
My second one for Robin is my personal favourite character in all of DC Comics, Deathstroke. Because since Deathstroke is like a character that uses like all these weapons as his swords, well, his sword, like you think, alright, that would be like a really good one, but like you could add like a special ability where like it switches up, where like he switches from his sword to his guns, like a rifle, like he did in the first Injustice game. And yeah, next character is Black Canary. She is you could say that she is a character that like I quite like her. She's one of my favourite DC females, and one of my favourite heroes throughout DC. I might say that, but I think Scream Queen would be an excellent choice for her, because Scream Queen uses like sonic voice, and it could be something quite interesting for that. But like, there's not much I do see about with Scream Queen, because like it's hard to think about, alright, who else has like a sonic voice or can use something like that apart from White Canary, but I don't think she could apply. Never mind. Next I have Dr. Fate, and Dr. Fate is my second favourite magic using DC character behind John Constantine, because he's funny and humorous. And pretty much I like I think Dr. Fate, his premiere skin would be I believe this would be like a really good character to have in, is Wotan, who is a occurring villain for Dr. Fate. And I think like because of like Wotan's like evil magic, like it could be used to like a great effect. Either that, or you could have John Constantine, because John Constantine, we all know, he is very funny and amazing. And pretty much because of like all these things, you would think, oh yeah, that's not bad. But John Constantine, he's like one of those characters where like he can make like interesting puns and like switch up. Because I found out about John Constantine like from the Injustice comic and watching Constantine. He's like one of those characters that would like use like dark magic. But Wotan, like I do think he would be one. Next is Flash, and obviously his premier skin is Reverse Flash, so there's nothing really much else to say about that. Green Lantern is obviously Jon Stewart. You would have Jon Stewart. And pretty much nothing more to say. Swamp Thing. Solomon Grundy would be my choice for Swamp Thing, because both of them are like from the green. Well, not both of them. Like Swamp Thing is the protector of the green, and Solomon Grundy is a zombie. So it would kind of be, it would actually fit. Have like the same thing, apart from Solomon Grundy can't do like the same abilities as Swamp Thing. And I do think it's quite similar. Next is Cyborg, and my brother likes this character quite a lot. It is Metallo, and he's one of Superman's villains. And I think like you could do like something really good with this, because since Metallo has like a kryptonite heart, it could be like you could like switch it up so like he like changes like his core, so it goes from like red kryptonite to blue to green kryptonite, or to a different source of power. And pretty much like I do think it would be like an interesting like fighting style, because if you played the first Injustice game, you saw that he is a stage character. And like, I looked at some things for him because I was like, oh, Metallo, that's interesting. And pretty much, he's like, I saw like the things where like he could use like kryptonite infused weapons in his weaponry, or if you've seen a lot of other things he can use, he can like morph his hands, or use like different things to pretty much make like like guns and like blades. So you could do like it so that he forms his hand into a very big cleaver, and like tries cutting down his opponent. But I do think like with him in it would be quite interesting. And I think the next character I could possibly have that I would want in this would be well, actually no, I mean what am I saying? Harley Quinn. I would have Harley Quinn in it. Not Harley. Well, she's already in it, so what am I talking about? So for Harley Quinn, I would possibly have Joker's daughter, because he canon and uses more of a tactical, like, well, not tactical, but like more brutal method, like with her sledgehammer. Like she could just use like a sledgehammer to just like knock someone like into like a dizzy stance, and just do like a combo on top of them. But I know. Deadshot is the next one. For Deadshot, I think his premier skins I'd possibly want Grifter, because he uses like his guns and all that. Like, I did think Red Hood, but then again, he most likely will be like on the main roster, and I do like that, because my brother is going to be so happy about that. Let's see, another like Grifter and Deathstroke. I say Deathstroke again because he is like because like in the first game, although he did have like his sword, he also had his rifle, and I think like he could like possibly switch up from like his rifle to his sword, and use like his normal attacks, because like I think it would be like an interesting thing for it. But like Grifter, like he's more of like he's like a mercenary, kind of like Red Hood, and it would be interesting. Like I know people would say, "Oh Fred, why Grifter?" And I'll be like, because he's more similar than you think, and because he's more similar, like it makes it like a perfect candidate. And pretty much it's quite interesting. I don't know why, I just thought, you know what, Grifter, he's a good one, and pretty good. Next character I'd like to discuss is Gorilla Grodd, and there isn't really anyone else you could say apart from Solivar, who we've seen like a little bit of tease where it's for Gorilla Grodd's armor, and pretty much with Solivar's I can't remember what it's called, like what gear it is, and like Solivar is like kind of like Grodd, apart from I think like his white thing would make it like his white fur would change it up, because Solivar is a friend of Flash's, and I think like because he would be in the game would make it a little bit more interesting, because it would be like an opposer to Grodd. But if he was just premier, it's going to be after that. Next is Atrocitus, and Atrocitus is my favourite. Is my favourite lantern. And I think for him you could possibly have, I got three options. You got Sinestro, who was Green Lantern's biggest enemy. Black Hand, who would actually be quite interesting, because in the comic they talk about the Black Lantern situation, another catcher who would actually fit quite well is Kilowog, which is very good. And I think Sinestro, because he's most popular and most people would want to see him back in this. And I think like it would be quite good. Like you could do it for Green Lantern as well, but you don't really know like how many premier skins each character is allowed, because if it says, oh yeah, they're allowed 2 premier skins, then you could do John Stewart and Sinestro for Green Lantern. But Black Hand like would be like a really good one, because you don't really see much of him like in like games, because this would be his very first I think this would be his very first game adaptation. And pretty much because he is like an undead like character, such as like a Revenant, kind of like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, it would be quite interesting, because it means that he could summon dead characters to help you or help him. But I think it would be like he would be like an interesting character to use. Let's see, who else? I think like Kilowog, because he most fits Atrocitus. And like he's big, he's a Green Lantern, and it'd be very funny his interaction with Hal Jordan. Firestorm, couldn't really think of anyone for him apart from Deathstorm, and Deathstorm like is like a more darker version of Firestorm but with blue fire, and I know already that Firestorm's got like a different like a swap thing where he uses like blue flames, but I think it would be like more of a like an interesting type of
I will tear you
thing,
apart.
because it's literally like an evil version of Firestorm, and pretty much because of this, it fit him quite well, and I think it would be pretty good. And yeah, I don't really have anything else. For Bane, his premiere skin, I couldn't think of anyone. Like, if you had, because there's so many characters that you think, alright, this could be like a good one for it. But for Bane, I want to say Killer Croc.
Round 2. Fight.
But you would have to think how would Killer Croc fit in? But then again, with NetherRealm Studios, they would find a way. But I'm not sure. Possibly Killer Croc? Well, we've already seen him in the game because he's a stage transition, like Black Manta. And if Black Manta becomes like a premiere skin, like I want, and most people want, I think it would be like a more of like an interesting type of brute force. Because since he's like in the sewers, it could be like possible that he could just like rip them apart and use more of like a water-based attacks like Aquaman. Catwoman. Alright, this is the problem I've got with Injustice 2. Catwoman and Cheetah are like that. So Catwoman and Cheetah, I don't think there's really a good thing to do for them, because if you think about it, with Cheetah and Catwoman, they're like more of like two of the same, and like there's nothing really much to say about it. Next is Poison Ivy. Now Poison Ivy, is like a good character. I think her like skills would actually be greatly used in the game, and because she's like she uses all plant things like Swamp Thing, it's like a similar thing. And for her premiere skin, I think Black Orchid would be good, because I know that she's not had much like done in the game, well, in anything. Apart from I saw her in Batman, Brave and the Bold, and I saw her in a couple of Suicide Squad comics. I think that was her. But if not, I think it would be pretty good, because like both of them are because Black Orchid is like one of those characters where you're like, you know what? Like, yeah, that could be similar. But I'm not sure. I couldn't think of anything. Captain Cold. Obviously, Mr. Freeze, so that's done. Black Adam. There's no questions asked, just Shazam. No, just Shazam. Even though he is dead, you could just have him. I know people say... Okay, I do have to say this. When people say to me, oh yeah, so, do you want Beast Boy in it? Do you want Nightwing in it? I'm like, no, because they're dead. And they are dead because they got killed. And I'm just gonna say this, if someone said to me, oh yeah, but Green Arrow and Joker in this, there is a simple reason for that. This is the Green Arrow from a different world, which Black Canary got taken to. Oh yeah, Black Canary, if someone says, oh yeah, she died, she got taken to a different place, so this is her, but she didn't die.
Final round.
And Joker, this is probably a different Joker. And pretty much because of this, it could possibly be like a different type of thing for it. Like a different version. Actually, no, this could actually be like a much more like brutal version of Joker. Like not exactly the same, but like similar. Well, I think that's it for now. Well, yeah, for Shazam. Well, Shazam is my pick for Black Adam. But I think that's it. Scarecrow? I can't really think of anyone for Scarecrow, because he's like one of those characters that is unique and like flows and goes. But like Scarecrow, I think in my opinion is like a really good like option, because he can just be like used to do so much damage. Because since he's the Master of Fear, he can just draw out all these like things for his opponents, and because he does this, it's like much more interesting. Alright. Let's see, Brainiac. Alright, Brainiac is more of like, he's like one of those characters that you're like, oh yeah, like, you can't really do anything else with Brainiac because he's Brainiac. So I just say Brainiac 7, like any of the other Brainiacs. And pretty much just Brainiac 7 because mostly he's one of those characters that you just think, not much else to do with that. But yeah, Darkseid, even though he is a DLC character, I do think he will get a premiere skin, and it'll be quite interesting, his premiere skin, because I would think, because there are only two characters I would love to see as his premiere skin. It's either the Anti-Monitor or Doomsday, and either are fine with me because both of them like are brutal, and I have seen like a lot of things to do with them, because like Doomsday is like was a good character from the first one. He was OP as so much, and I liked playing as him. And pretty much because of like everything that happened in the game, like how much like he was like part of it, it would have been quite interesting. But another character I'd have for a Darkseid as his premiere skin would be Anti-Monitor. And Anti-Monitor, he's one well, the first time I saw him, because I watched Green Lantern the animated series, and I was like, this thing scares me, because of how much I thought how much damage he could do. Because since he did all like these things, like absorbed everything from his galaxy, like it shows how much like a brutal menace he can be. And it, like, I've seen like all the things between him and Darkseid, and both of them like can just go at each other and like show off that like they are like good villains. And I'm not saying it because like I think they're bad. I think like they're really good, and they will be OP as so much. But I think like I got two more characters I have to talk about. Joker. He possibly could be coming out today, but I do think that his premiere skin could possibly be Creeper, because it would just be quite interesting to see his thing, because Creeper is well,
His desire for
creeper,
vengeance had
creeper,
brought Earthrealm to
and
the brink of
I
destruction.
think like, it'd be quite interesting to see what his
Scorpion offered to perform
interaction with
harakiri to
Harley would
atone
be,
for
because
his
if you
offense.
watch the original
But
animated
Radio
series
suggested a more
for
productive
Batman, you'd see that
Instead of
like he's
death,
got a thing for Harley.
Raiden sentenced Scorpion to
Well, that's the thing I gotta say for that.
He imbued
Next character,
Scorpion
which is
with
my
a
last,
portion
Green
of
Arrow.
Jinsei's power, linking him to
Green
Earthrealm's
Arrow is one of my
essence.
favourite heroes,
Scorpion and his Shirai
and
Ryu
I've
clan
got to
would
say
protect
I'd either have
Jinsei and
Merlin,
Earthrealm
Malcolm
forever.
Merlin, for his premier skin, or Komodo. And I think it would actually be like one of those characters that could possibly be like, I don't know, like one of those characters where you think, alright, you could just do just certain things with him. But I do think that like his like both their fighting styles would be like kind of like Green Arrow's. But like it'd be quite interesting because possibly like the things that you could do with it are quite good. And I am looking at your comments. Joker seems to have a hole in his chest in Justice Suit, so maybe he never died or something. That's actually a very good point. Oh, Fred, I have huge news. I'll ring you in a minute, Bill. Billy RYT. So pretty much, I think that like because of all these things, it would actually be quite cool. Well, yeah, like I think like their gameplay would be like quite good. Like 'cause Green Arrow is one of those characters that is huge and big, and I think it was quite good. I think that's what I think I'm gonna round that off for today. If you want me to do like another discussion about who I think should be in my who should be not in mine, who should be in Injustice 2, or like the premier skins, drop a comment down below, leave a like, and everything. And thank you to the people who messaged me on the board, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.